are Indianisms. We in India use English in a very particular way, and in this video I'm going to talk about 20 things which is considered Indianism. So as an English teacher, I've divided into two groups. 10 are those which are absolutely wrong, so in case you're using them, please stop using that. The other 10 are okay. You must understand where you're using them. If you're talking about English, then as an English teacher, yes, they are wrong, but we understand that there is a cultural flavor to it, and you should also know that though these are wrong English, it's acceptable because Indians do understand it. So in that case, I'll be telling you what are the phrases that you can use so that if your audience is somebody from outside India, then they will understand it better. So please understand the second set of things which I will say is very much used in India. We will think is absolutely correct, but anybody outside India will not understand what is being said because that's not how English is spoken outside India. So let's begin. So the first set that I'm going to be talking about are those which are absolutely grammatically incorrect. You must stop that. First is, she is very proudy. Now this is something I've heard very often as a teacher. You know, ma'am, she is very proudy. It's mostly said with she is very proudy. I've hardly ever heard a he is very proudy. But the word proudy does not exist. There's no word like proudy. What you basically mean is that she's acting very proud. Now proud is actually a very positive adjective. I think the word arrogant is what you mean. Somebody is acting as if he or she is better than the others. So what you're basically trying to say is that she's very arrogant, because arrogant even talks about somebody being rude because they think they're better off. So instead of saying he's arrogant or she's behaving in an arrogant fashion, I've heard it being said she's very proudy. So that's wrong. Please do stop that. The second is this use of this word only. I live here only. That's what I said, only. Now I think it comes from the Indian version of saying or emphasizing with the word he. मैं यहीं पे रहता हूँ या मैं यही तो बोल रहा था. But in English, the word only means this is the sole thing that is there. So if you say this is the only hotel in this area, or this is the only book which will give you the answer, that's what it means. Like there's nothing else. This is the one. So you cannot say I live here only. You just have to say I live here, or that is what I said. Maybe you can emphasize this is where I live, or that is what I said. The third is saying my most favorite, or this is more favorite. So favorite by itself is a superlative. If something is your favorite, it means you like it more than all other things. So there is no need to say something like this is my most favorite dress, or this is my most favorite music piece. Favorite just means that you like it better than all the others. So most favorite, more favorite is wrong. Similarly, I've heard people say carry more extra things. Carry more extra food when you go out. Carry more extra water when you go out. So extra just means more. So you want to carry water, carry extra water. So not more extra water, just carry extra water. Now here's another one. When I've heard people say, my maths is very weak, my English is very weak. What you basically want to say is that I am weak in English. English cannot become weak. English is like, it's like saying my dog is very weak. So it's the same sentence structure. So say I am weak in maths, I am weak in English, instead of saying English is very weak, maths is very weak. So use it as I am weak in, and then add in the subject, or I am weak in music, I am weak in reading. Just add in the skill that you are weak in, and not my reading is weak. Not like that. So here's another one which is called pass out. Pass out from school. You basically want to say that you graduated from school or you completed school in this year. So pass out means losing unconsciousness. You had too much to drink and you passed out, or it was very hot and you passed out. So that's the only meaning of pass out. Don't use the word with schooling and colleging when you basically mean that you completed schooling. So you say, I completed my schooling in the year 1990 or 2000, or I completed my graduation from this college, not I passed out. Another one is about exams. So we take exams. That is, when you are writing the exam, you are taking the exams. You don't give the exam. The giving the exam is basically somebody who's conducting the exam. Although giving exams is not really used, you conduct exams. So as teachers, we conduct exams, and as students, you take the exams. So always ask or always say, I am taking my 10th standard exams, or when will you be taking your exams? Not giving exams. You don't give exams, you take exams. Okay, now this one I thought a bit before using, but since I've heard it so many times, I thought I'll put it. So the rear entrance, a lot of people say it as the backside entrance. Could you use the back entrance, or could you use the backside entrance? So backside is wrong, back is still okay. It's always better to use the rear entrance. Backside is, the backside. So never use the backside entrance, which is something I've heard very often in Delhi, backside entrance. But use the word rear entrance. Could you use the rear entrance? Or could you use the entrance at the back, not backside? Here's the 9th one. So this is said that in the pandemic I had very less work. So there is very less work to be done out here. So now less is a comparative term. It's little, less, least. So the actual would be, I have very little work to be done. Or there is very little work to be done out here. Not less work to be done out here. And finally I have one which even I have been guilty of using. It is using the word revert. Now there are two. Revert back is wrong. Revert by itself means come back. So I shall revert back to you. This is how the sentence is used, which also is a wrong sentence, and I've put it at the end because it's one of those Indianisms which I'll take up in the next section. But revert back is anyway wrong, because the word revert anyway means come back. Now why that is wrong, why you should never say I'll revert to you, is because the word revert basically means going back to an original state. So when you say that I will revert to you, you are not going to go back to being that person or going back to being something that you were. What you mean to say is I'll get back to you or I'll call you back. So it's always better to use words like I'll get back to you or I'll call you back, instead of saying I'll revert to you. And revert back, of course, please don't use. So these were the 10 Indianisms which were absolutely wrong. I now move on to the next 10 Indianisms which are just that. Yeah, Indianisms, in the Indian context, it makes perfect sense. In any context which is not Indian, that means if you're talking to somebody outside India, they will not understand what you're saying, or they will find you are talking very funny. So these are wrong English sentences, but you can have the discretion. Some of them are wrong. I would love to know your comments about these. Do let me know. So the first, what is your good name? Now in India, in many places, we have this concept of having a formal name, the good name, and the calling name, the dark naam, in how Bengalis say it. So you could be called Chotu and Raju at home, and you'll be having a totally different formal name for your school certificate. So that's the concept. What is aapka shubh naam kya hai, or bhalo naam, so we have this concept of a good name. So in English you can just say what is your name, and they can always tell you whichever name they want to be preferred to be called with. So don't ask what is your good name if you are talking to somebody who will not understand this concept. They don't understand this concept of a good name and a bad name, the shubh naam and the calling name. So it's better to say what is your name. Now here's another one which only Indians use, and that is called prepone. So prepone for us is the opposite of postpone. So if we want anything to be brought advanced, the word is advanced. We want something which is at 3 o'clock to be advanced to 2 o'clock. We generally end up calling it prepone. So there is no English word called prepone. It's a very, very Indian thing to say. So the word prepone is an Indianism. avoid that. You will sound much more sophisticated and a better speaker of English if you use the word advance. Could we advance the meeting to 2 o'clock instead of saying could we prepone the meeting? So the prepone word doesn't really exist in the dictionary. Who knows, maybe because of Indianism it could come in, but as of now it's wrong. The third is out of station. Now that's again a very Indian thing to say. So and so is out of station, or I'm going to be out of station. What you mean is you're going to be out of town. The station is where the trains come in. So out of station kind of doesn't have a concept in American English or British English or any other English. So this again is a very Indian way of saying that somebody is not in town. So just use that somebody is not in town, or I will not be in town, not I'm out of station. And as I said before, you have your discretion to choose which Indianism you want to use, but do realize that this is an Indianism. Similarly, we have kindly do the needful. Okay. Could you do the needful? Now this is again a very Indian way of requesting that could you do whatever is necessary. So any Indian will understand that this is a government language, kindly do the needful, but that is a very Indian way of saying please do what is necessary, and this sentence structure is not used outside India at all. Cousin brother, cousin sister. So in English, anywhere else outside India, we have brothers who are your siblings. Your brother and sister are your siblings, which means you have the same set of parents. You could be having half brothers or step brothers, which means one of your parents is common. And then you have your cousins. So cousins is a common gender. It could be a boy or a girl. But when you say somebody is a cousin, you don't have to add the word brother or sister to it because it doesn't make sense to anybody else. So somebody is either your brother or your cousin. You can't have a cousin brother or a cousin sister. But in India, we quite understand because we give so much importance to family. We have this mamera, chachera, phupera, so many sets of brothers, elder brother, younger brother. So I quite understand where we are coming from. But if you're speaking in English, try to say either cousin or brother or sister. Okay, don't mix the two. Time pass. Now, time pass is another word which even I am guilty of using. I totally understand. I don't think there's any word which kind of fits what we're trying to say. But time pass is again a very Indian word. People outside don't understand what a time pass is. This is a time pass. So the meaning is evident. Very much an Indian word, but please do remember this is an Indianism, and people outside India really would understand what is time pass. So keep that in mind. Similar to that is don't eat my brains, or you're eating my brains, which is a direct translation of mera dimag mat kha, which exists again only in India. It's a cultural thing. Nobody can eat your brain. It's a statement which others will find, which any non-Indian will find very weird or very different. So please understand. I mean, I totally understand why you would use such a word. I mean, it has such great imagery. You know, somebody eating your brains out. Mera dimag kha raha hai wo. It's perfectly okay. It's an Indianism, but do use it as that. Understand that people outside India, or people, if you're trying to talk to a British or if you're trying to talk to an American, really won't understand what eating your brains means. Similarly, we have words like cinema hall. Cinema hall is a very Indian way of calling the movie theatre or the cinema. The British call it the cinema. Cinema is also the place. So cinema, and the Americans call it the movie theatre or the theatre, whereas we Indians call it the cinema hall. So it's okay, we understand what a cinema hall is, but if you're talking to somebody who's not Indian, please understand that they will either call it the cinema or the movie theatre and not the cinema hall. Cinema hall is a very Indian way of saying it. Here's another one which I've heard often. Do you have a bit of time? I need one help. One help. Instead of saying I need some help or I need a little bit of help or could you help me, there is this way of saying I need one help. Ek madad karte, you know, like मेरे लिए एक मदद करेगा, तू मेरा एक मदद करेगा. So that एक मदद literally becomes one help. Could you give me one help? Could you do me one help? So do avoid that. It doesn't sound good. You could just say, could you help me out, or could you give me self-help, or could you give me a little bit of help, but not one help. And finally, this is something which I have also done. It took me a long time to understand that this is an Indianism and it's wrong. We say 6 into 2 is 12, or 5 into 2 is 10. This is again a very Indian way of multiplying into 2. So the British will either say 6 multiplied by 2 is 12, or 6 times 2 is 12. But the 6 into, that using that word into to multiply is another Indian thing, and well, we have to use it like that. I hope you enjoyed this list. If there are any more, do let me know in the comments below. Do consider joining my email newsletter. I send out weekly newsletters about all things English. Do like and subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching this video.